Hello everyone. If you want to build a shed like this and have questions about the assembly process, stick around. What's up YouTube? This is the Pond Diver with another DIY real life review, in this case of a 10x14 Aero shed. It's a metal shed. They're pretty common. You see them at the Home Center, Lowe's, and Home Depot. I think there's a lot of misinformation out on the internet and on YouTube about how difficult and how they, how trying it is, and there's just not a good product. But really, I mean, if it's done correctly, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. I think this shed has the potential to be a fairly decent investment for the amount of money it costs. I think we could get several years out of it. So you have to be prepared. You can't just go and pick up a shed, think you're going to come home that afternoon, and then, it's finished by lunch. It doesn't work that way. So along with pre-planning, like writing my own instructions and taking care of some other business in the very beginning, I had to make sure that I had a good foundation. Now this foundation is a little robust. It's actually 10.5 feet by 16 feet. I wanted a little bit of room on the front so I could stage items. It's got a little bit of a robust ramp there. But I got my foundation out of the way. Right here, what you see, all of these parts are all put together by their item number. So when I get ready to pre-assemble, all of my like parts are with like parts. There's some roof panels, there's the door panels, there's some front door panels that are a little different than the wall panels. And on this table here, this is the roof panels themselves, gable panels, and wall panels. What you've noticed is that nothing is on the ground. I have everything elevated by sawhorses, and what that does is that keeps my work area, it keeps mud and debris off the product. It also keeps me from stepping on this. You would absolutely be shocked if you saw how many people lay this and they try to assemble it on the ground, and then they end up stepping on it, and then they refer to how thin the sheet metal is, and they call it Coke can product and things like that. But this is a sheet metal shed. It's not wood, it's not plastic. You're going to get out of it whatever you put into it. Alright, so it's been about an hour and 30 minutes. Sun's trying to go down on me a little bit. It's been very windy and kind of cool out here, but I did get all the pre-work done. I don't know if you can see. Let's try to adjust it around where you can see that I'm actually finished with the pre-work, and now tomorrow we're going to move straight to attaching the floor frame. I'll need to square it up, make sure it's exactly right, and then we can start on the walls in the morning. So far so good. I think it's going to turn out real good. I'm excited about it. It took me an hour and a half to do the first few steps, get all my pre-assembly out of the way. Tomorrow the winds should be better and shouldn't have that much in the way of any friction to putting the walls on. Anyway, okay, we'll catch up tomorrow. Good morning on day 2. So it's a little chilly this morning here in North Mississippi. It's 49 degrees and I'm moving like molasses, but we're gonna go ahead and knock this thing out. All right, a couple little things I want to talk about in the interim here. As you saw, I had a little bit of a difficult time putting these walls up by myself. Now, a lot of folks, say they couldn't have done it without somebody. You can, and not everybody is going to have 3 ladders. So the instructions say to brace these wall panels against a ladder to add support, but really that doesn't help that much because the ladder doesn't go all the way to the side of the wall. I realized that if I just attach it at the top of the corner, I could work down the side of the panel right there. I hope I'm getting this in the shot. And then basically I worked my way around. Also, something that I learned, even though that these support pieces right here and the ones in the back, they call them the wall supports, the instructions say to pre-manufacture or pre-assemble those. In my case, it may have been because I was alone, but in my case I found that it was more difficult to align. So what I did is I just reversed the process. I separated them and it worked out pretty good after that, and I just put them on one piece at a time, and they did line up. Now if you notice, I did not completely, let's see if I can get that in the shot. I don't know if you can see it, but I didn't completely put all the hardware back in because I may need to adjust it as I put the wall pieces on. I don't know, we will see, but as of right now I've been going, I guess, about 2 hours, maybe a little less than 2 hours. It's a little loud because I still have that wind today, and that wind has made it very difficult, but wasn't supposed to have any wind today. It just turns out I did. Anyway, been about 2 hours so far, and I've got the 4 corners up, and I've got the wall support, so it's going pretty good.
Tomorrow, the only thing I'll have left is the roof and the main door entrance. So, takeaways from today, 2 people is a real good idea. Can you do it with one person? Sure. I've done it all day long by myself. I didn't ask for any help. I didn't feel like I needed it. However, it would have cut down on about half the time. So time is valuable, you know. I ran into a couple of issues today. I didn't run into anything not aligning, but I did run into some questionable instructions, but that was just like 2 times out of, man, I think it's going to be exactly what I thought it would be. I'm very pleased with it so far. It's not rigid, okay? We knew that when we bought it. You would know that before you buy it. It's not rigid. It's not wood or plastic. So what we're gonna do, now I'll tell you this, before I bought it I already knew that sheet metal is thin. I mean, most people know that you can press on it. It's thin. It's not as thin as a Coke can like some people want to say, but it's thin. What I'm going to do to try to combat some of the flimsiness is at the bottom, around the bottom partition, I'm going to put some 1/2-inch cedar. I have some 1/2-inch cedar plywood. If you set something in here too hard or you push the lawnmower into it or something, it won't make the outside of it look so ugly. Like I said, very happy with today. Look forward to tomorrow. So after that, we're good. The temperature dropped on me. I'd still be going a little bit longer, but I think it's in the 40s, maybe 49 or 48, and I hate that. I really hate cold weather. I probably should move to the equator. Okay, see you in the morning. All right, so I have to pause for a minute. I have created a self-inflicted wound, not once, but twice, just simply by not paying attention. It's not the product's fault, it's my fault for not being aware or even considering a couple of things. I want you to take a look at what I've done. The first time I put this up, it was reversed over where these, I don't know if you can see the little tiny holes where they were on the bottom. I did that on both sides. Turns out, not only did I put them back up incorrectly, there's a sloped edge up here on the top, this sloped edge. So actually when I took them down, this one should have went over there and that one should have came over here and been flipped this way. I realized this whenever I was trying to put on the roof panel and the roof panel wasn't matching, and then I was trying to contort this bar right here to make it match, and I just looked over and saw the other one was actually sloped in the opposite direction. So I'm gonna pause because I'm a little frustrated. I just caused myself an hour more time, so I will get back here in just a second. I haven't got as far today as I wanted to. I had a conference call and had to run up and do some work. I will tell you, putting these roof panels on are everything that I thought they would be. They're not fun. Are they doable? Yeah, they are. It's just you gotta have patience, and I'm trying to build patience. They're doable. Having a second person on the inside holding a couple of nuts, I may have to do that. Well, I'm in a little bit of a snafu right now, which running into some issues on this with over 2,000 pieces of hardware is going to be common. I am going to have to deduct a half a star. Not that I'm an engineer. In my opinion, the caps that go across the roof where you put on the ducting tape, they call it weather stripping or weather tape, but it's not, it's ducting tape. That's not the issue. What the issue is that the caps that are on top, the hardware that you're supposed to use for the caps is insufficient. It's not long enough. Not even if I had someone on the inside could I make it work. It's not a very good idea. Now I have the ability to go down the street. Not everybody will, but I can run to the local hardware store and pick up some larger self-tapping sheet metal screws, and that's what I'm gonna do. Right now it's kind of a bummer. Even though I didn't spend too much time on it today, I did want to finish up the roof today, but that's not going to happen now because I do need to stop. It's a good stopping point. I don't like the fact that it turned this way. Or today's takeaway is that I knew the roof was going to be tough. I did not think the hardware would be an issue, but I would go back to the drawing table and I would say, you know, for the roof we should probably consider using a ½ inch longer. The diameter is the same, the pitches could be the same, 7/16, pitch 20, something like that, but I need a little bit longer of a screw. Instead of it being ½ inch, it probably should be a full inch. This is the toughest part of the project. Not all the instructions are questionable, by no means. I'm not gonna say that, because you can see I'm able to build this thing with the instructions that I got. The instructions are not questionable. A couple of areas in there made me go, and then when I get up here and I try to execute it, it doesn't make much sense, but thinking outside of the box tends to render it correct. So I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna lose a ½ a star on that, and I'm gonna lose a ½ a star on this hardware. So we're down to 4 stars, but by all means, that's not a showstopper. I'm still really stoked and really excited about this shed. I'm a realist. I know there's gonna be issues. Anyway, okay, that's it for today. All right, so maybe I wasn't ready to go to bed, okay? And I thought I had a little bit of daylight left, so I went ahead and just knocked out the doors. I don't know why the doors get such bad reviews. They're not hard at all to put together. Matter of fact, I think they were the easiest thing I've had to do this whole entire time. So if you read the instructions, it was real simple. It took me about 30 minutes, about 15 minutes per door. Once I built the first one, I knew how the second one went together. It was actually pretty easy, and I was excited I was able to get it done. Okay, see you in the morning. Okay, so I just wrapped up the roof. I've got a little bit of trim work to do around the outside perimeter and the roof will be done. I was real concerned with the fact I thought it was just in my opinion, I needed to use longer hardware to make my job easier. And when I went down to Lowe's to pick up the hardware, I said, okay, I'm gonna go in this other shed and see how they did it. And sure enough, when I walked into the shed at Lowe's, they had long sheet metal screws in the roof coming down, and I knew it was Lowe's that had assembled it, not the manufacturer. My overall rating for the product is going to be a 4-star. So there were 2 items that bothered me, and I deducted a half a star. Being a real life review, you know, I want to think as constructively as I can. The hardware at the top of the gable, way too short. And that was one issue that I had. The second issue was the little area of instruction I ran into. But it's not worth being upset. I think this is a fantastic product. It gives me 138 additional square feet to store. Would I purchase it again? Yeah, absolutely. I was able to build this on my own in about 18 hours. You can move it, you can disassemble it if you need to. In about a week, I'll run another video on how to reinforce the bottom partition. Earlier, I had told you that I had some 1/2-inch cedar plywood. I'm going to run it around the bottom side of it. And then a little bit after that, we'll post another video on how to hang some interior LED lighting. And then we will do some organization, some shelving techniques inside of a metal shed. So it'll be a couple of series that we'll do on here. I also want to reinforce the top canopy. We don't get much in the way of snow here in North Mississippi, but we do get a lot of wind. So as you can tell, over the last 3 days, I have been fighting with wind. Anyhow, if this video helped you whatsoever make a decision, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions about this build, also let me know. If you have any ideas that you want to share with me, drop them in the comments section. Like this video if you like it, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell if you want some more DIY like this. It's my way, that's perfect. That's what I had rather, because please. I really enjoyed this build. I did that on the camera. Edit, cut.